All right, human design. Okay, so where do you want to start in the
Um,
conversation?
let's see what comes through. So, my question to you is, how do you think that entrepreneurs should use human design, their authority in regards to making decisions in business?
For me, how I can personally say I've been using human design in regards to entrepreneurship and regarding my authority. I am first breaking down and tracking my emotional waves. I am an emotional authority. And so I understand that I am going to go through ups and downs. And then plus, I'm a woman with hormones and I'll go through ups and downs. And so what's been really pivotal for me is getting a notebook, writing emotional tracker. And anytime I feel triggered or I have a spike in my emotions or something is eye-opening for me, I write it down. And so this has been pretty consistent recently. And so I started this last week and my emotional waves came like back to back within a 48-hour period. And so I wrote down that first emotional wave and I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't know what that's about. And then I wrote down my second emotional wave within that 48-hour period. And I noticed, hold on, this emotional wave relates to the first emotional wave. Let's see what's going on. And then the next day, the same thing came up. I wrote it down. It the same thing triggered me from the last two emotional waves. And I was like, hold on, okay. So this pattern showed itself of information, new information would trigger me because I thought I had to apply it right away. And so once I saw the pattern, I was able to take control of it. It's like, okay, I can break away this old habit, this old thinking, this old belief of, okay, I have to apply something new every time someone said something, change it. That doesn't have to happen. I can marinate on it. And so with the emotional tracker, which I suggest for entrepreneurs who have emotional authority, to try it for at least a week so you can see, hey, what can I change or what belief is holding me back? Because in my case, it was apply new information as soon as you get it. Like take your time, marinate on it. Maybe that's not for you. With the age of social media here, we have information slapped in our face 24/7. And it can be overwhelming to somebody who has an open head center. Like I have an open center. I'm less like, okay, what the heck? How do you discern what information is factual? How do you discern information if it's opinion based? Like no one's teaching that. And if they did teach it, it was a long time ago. And so recently, I've been reading this book called The Art of Thinking by Vincent Ryan. And I love it so much because, first of all, I'm a line one. So I have to understand what information is good and what information is bad. And in this world, like I said, of information and a lot of it is just persuasive marketing information. And so I'm 21 and so imagine you don't know what persuasive marketing information is, you just think it's information. And so that's been the dilemma with the younger generation. They get access to all this information, they believe it's true, but most of it is just marketing and just things that just pull on your emotions. There's no logic behind it. And so with the art of thinking, it's teaching me how to discern what's persuasive information, what's fact-based information, how to think through things critically and not just respond based on emotion and respond. Well, he used two different words, being responsive versus being reactive. And so this is important for open head centers, line ones, and people, especially with emotional authorities, to know the difference between when you're responding to something and when you're reacting to something. Okay. You know, you generators, we have to wait to respond. Okay. It's two different feelings when you're waiting to respond versus reacting to something as a generator. In human emotions, of course, we're going to be reactive. That's the nature of humans. But you also want to be conscious enough to, okay, I know I'm having a reaction to this and being able to step back and think about it and then have a response afterwards that works for you. And it's not just destroying a relationship or destroying an opportunity because those things can happen when you just say things you don't really mean. Um,
Yeah.
so have you experienced that? But I've been talking a lot. I want to hear some of the things you've had in mind.
So, as you were saying about, you know how there's so much information out there and it's overwhelming? I have a defined head center and I have that issue as well, actually,
Oh,
about
wow.
not knowing the discernment. Because for me, my issue has been going too deep into it, researching every single thing. going into the persuasive marketing and going so deep into it that I get overwhelmed. And so for that, again, I think I need that book as well because I think the whole thing of social media and the marketing, it applies to everyone as well. I think that it affects us in different ways in a sense. And what you were saying as well about the emotional ups and downs, about journaling it out, I that person works for me as well. So for those watching as well, so I have some people call it no authority. I have a self-projected authority. So for me, I either talk things out. I notice that my voice gets clearer when I talk things out, but if I feel like I'm not in a space, then journaling the triggers, things like that. And the technique of journaling that has really helped for me is morning pages. So have you heard of the book Artist's Way?
Mm-mm.
So there's an exercise, it's called morning pages. It's basically you can do it in the mornings, but I just do it whenever I feel called to. Basically, you just get a journal, you just mind them. You just get it's because they call it a stream of consciousness. You write down all the boring things you need to do, anything that's on your mind, you just write it down, even if it seems silly. And for me, I like to rip it up and throw it in the bin afterwards because I don't want to see it. But it helps me personally access my intuition because there's all this mind gunk. But then when we actually get underneath it, you start seeing, oh, wait, I actually want to do this thing, or I really like this thing and this resonates with me, or I don't like my job, things like that. I feel like that personally helps me as well. So journaling. And especially as well, I feel like for the other authorities, the ones at the top of my head, sacral and sacral and splenic, I feel like they wouldn't need that technique because they just know on the spot. It's like a thing, but I feel like splenic authority is learning what the intuition itself feels like because it's like a one-off thing that doesn't, it just happens and then they don't receive the message again. I feel like the whole journaling for entrepreneurs, it can be tweaked. For the sacral authority, what's coming through for me, the idea is writing down like yes or no questions. So like, does this thing work for me? And then they write down why. For the splenic authority, perhaps the sensations of the body, things like that. What works for you as well? Because I know you said about the ups and downs, but what's
Mm-hmm.
coming through for you?
For me,
I know you said about the emotional waves.
mm-hmm. And so, like I said, I've been navigating my emotions just as an entrepreneur and a person, um, through my emotional tracker that I recently started. And so, what inspired the emotional tracker was this book called The Compound Effect. I'm his name is not coming to me immediately, but basically, it was talking about any habit that you want to change, you want to go ahead and track it so that you can see it play out in the physical. Um, I also want to say that in my reality, being an entrepreneur and being your best version is kind of one and the same. Recently, I've been in this class called Food and Justice, and they've taken us, this is going to make sense, I promise. They took us around the community to show us different farmers who are planting foods and giving it away, planting foods and selling it at the farmers market. And so I did this interview with one of the farmers markets sellers, and they were like, this is my livelihood. This is what I do. This is my passion. This is the story behind it. I was trying to heal my daughters, and we created this product that worked for them and made them feel better. And this is just who I become. Okay. And so this reminded me of how in ancient human civilization, we would have our craft, okay, in modern day words, entrepreneurship, we would have our craft. We'd be so good at it that the community, we want to share it with the community comes to us and asks our expertise, and we just trade. And so me as just a human being here, I'm understanding my craft and sharpening my skills via reading, via journaling, via understanding myself. And so this inward journey is going to, of course, bring you lots of wealth and abundance
Mhm.
because you're bringing value to your community. And so the deeper you understand yourself, just like I experienced at the farmers market, they understood themselves so well, so comfortable. They followed their design. They responded. She responded to her daughter having some type of health issue, and in result she made a lemonade, and now she's selling the lemonade and serving her community. And so recently I've just been following the responses in little situations within my community. I go to a college university, been in college to be more specific, and there's little problems and little tweaks that can be made in the systems here. And I'm a 5-1, so of course I'm the problem solver. And the little things that do make me, the problems that make me excited or intrigue my curiosity. I'm a line 1. Okay, you want to follow that curiosity. I follow it. And every time I follow the problem that makes me most excited, curious, and interests me in some way, it's another opportunity that follows it that expands my career.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so beautiful. And I want to remind you all that you want to continue to follow, if you're a generator MG, to follow the responses that make you excited and or spark your curiosity if you have a line 1, because that's naturally going to continue to sharpen you, because you're not going to know. Okay, and if you do know, great. But I was one of those people that didn't know. Okay, let's just say, because you come to earth not knowing, you forgetting all the your soul history. Okay, and so this is a puzzle. This is supposed to be fun, and I'm having fun. Okay, that's the purpose here, and continuing to discover who I am and what my craft is. And so it's slowly coming to me like the layers of the banana being peeled off. Because recently I this story is gonna connect all together. I was invited to go to Chicago, Illinois to study environmentalism and Afrofuturism. This opportunity came out of nowhere, okay? And for 3 months, I had been planning to go to the powwow with my grandmother. And I was like, hold on. This trip is the same day me and my grandma have been planning something. What do I do? Okay. So this is an opportunity to make a choice. Okay. And as a generator, as an MG, more specifically, um, the thing that made me excited was the Chicago, Illinois trip, because it related to my future desires, starting a food forest, having my own homestead, having a farm, like all those things I would be able to learn in Chicago, Illinois. However, I had already made a commitment to my grandmother. So what do? One opportunity made me excited, and another opportunity I wanted to be disciplined about. And so what I did in that moment was not choose the Chicago, Illinois trip. And I told my grandmother, I was like, hey, are you coming down? I want to make sure. I just canceled a big trip. And she was like, go ahead and go, baby. I want you to enjoy your life. Please take this trip. This is a beautiful opportunity. Not everyone gets to do this. And I was like, are you sure, Grandma? We've been planning this for 4 months. And she's like, no, go, live your life. And I was like, okay. And so I hung up and quickly told her my plans had changed and I was able to go. And so that little moment in life, okay, it created a story for me. Next thing you know, so I accepted Chicago, Illinois trip. 4 days later, I had an interview for a job, and they were like, tell me about a time you had to make a hard decision. That moment in life was the beautiful time where I had to make a hard decision, and I was being loyal to myself and honoring myself. And I was like, hey, I want to keep my word. And so you see how those beautiful moments connected to another moment because I was following my design and just being my authentic self. I don't have all the answers, okay? I was enjoying the ride. And so when I enjoyed the ride, things just naturally flowed, just like how the universe goes in waves, okay? And so as entrepreneurs, you have to be able to go with flows and embrace your story, okay? Be authentic in your business and know what you want and choose it. Don't be scared to choose it. It's a reason why you choose it, because even if you choose it and it doesn't work out, it's a story from that not working out that you're able to tell that inspires somebody else and you're like, oh, we're more curious about you, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like when you follow your aura type specifically, that's just when things fall into alignment. Because I remember hearing that because I'm a projector, instead of waiting for the invitation, you become the invitation. And I've personally resonated with that analogy of just leaning back, becoming magnetic, because I've noticed that every single time I chase something from a place of lack, it never works out. Like if I try and force something, it will run away from me, but it's an even more intensified thing. So I feel like, because in this whole society, I've noticed, especially, it's that everyone's conditioned to be like the other person, the other human design type. So, for example, the manifestors want to be like the generators, etc. What's your take on that about the deconditioning process for entrepreneurs in general?
The deconditioning question is really great because I grew up around a projector mother who wants to be a generator like my dad, and my dad is a generator who sometimes get frustrated and he doesn't understand following his excitement yet, even though I've been encouraging him to. Um, Funny story, when he does follow his excitement, it somehow always benefits me. Okay. I don't know how. I think that's a bloodline thing, but I don't he took a class at GTCC and he didn't finish the class because of family, work, jobs, and stuff. And the only thing he was able to get out of this class was this book. He said he didn't even get to read it all the way through. And I was like, Dad, I picked up this book out of his library. He has a huge library. It's over 100 books, over 250 books. And I just pick it up. And I was like, Dad, how'd you get your hands on this book? He was like, well, I took this class and my dad loves education. So it was a class because he genuinely enjoyed it or was having fun. And
Same
he was
here.
following his excitement. And sometimes his excitement be getting him in trouble. But the long term, like the universe always has a plan. I was able to pick up this book and get the information I needed to get some clarity on, okay, the difference between emotional responses and logical responses, which is significant in a lot of ways because you want to be able to navigate your relationships and also navigate within yourself. Okay, am I listening to this person or am I just trying to get a rebuttal in because of my ego? You know, so that type of information is how you change what you get out of your relationships and what you get out of your opportunities. The deconditioning part is just through self-acceptance. I would say doing that journaling and just saying yes to one thing that makes you excited, even though it's scary, at least once a day or even once a week. Because recently I've tried to do a workout routine. Okay. And the workout routine wasn't working. I thought I could do it every day. But once I broke it down to myself, I was like, okay, I can't do it every day. But however, I can do it once a week. And so it was broken down even smaller. And now that I'm doing my workouts once a week, that same concept can apply to you. Find out one thing that makes you excited. And even though you can't do it every day, do it once a week, once a month. However small you need to get it done, just practice it. Practice being your authentic self. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Okay. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. That's anything that's being birthed. It has to go through this uncomfortable part of the scorpionic energy in order to manifest. And so you have to be courageous. I will also work on your solar plexus and your confidence just to be able to fully embrace that authentic version of you that's there, that you just have to release old things. I will also get massages because emotions are stored in the muscles, and as I heard, the heart. Meditations help a lot. Subconscious mind work, shadow work. Yes, having conversations with your family and just taking note of what triggers you, what feels old, what feels new and refreshing. You just have to become conscious. In order to become conscious, you must slow down in this reality. It's the complete opposite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going fast, you go slow. If everything's going slow, you speed it up. Okay.
Yeah,
That's a part of individuality thinking.
yeah. I remember you telling me such a good analogy about the feminine energy centers in human design. Could you
Mhm.
share about that as well, please?
Yeah.
I love your take on it.
Okay, so my philosophy is if it's an open center, it's a feminine energy, and you must be flowy, open, receptive. Just let things be in regards to if you have an open head center, let ideas flow. If you have an open splenic, let fears and things that are survival related, let those ideologies flow. Don't become stagnant on one. Don't attach your identity to one idea, especially if you have an open head center. You're designed to be receptive and just take in information, let go information. You're like researcher, okay? And you let the evidence tell its own story. And then if you have a closed center, this is where you're more masculine and structured, and you have a fixed identities there. And so if you have a closed head center, you want to have an idea of what are your principles, what are your values, and stick to it. And then let time wear on it to see if it's still stable and it's something you still resonate with. And so you can apply this concept to all of the centers within human design to see what gets you the best result. In my experience, it has definitely been being in flow with my open centers and making sure that I'm grounded in my closed centers.
Oh, I love that. Being grounded in the closed center. How would you recommend specifically grounding to the closed centers? Is there like a specific way, or is it more of like grounding into nature and things like that?
I would say grounding into nature would be a universal thing that everyone
Hmm.
can do. I would have to look specifically into your center to see which ones are closed. If it's like the heart, then going into heart related themes for your center to see, okay, what morals and values do I prioritize, and then what don't I prioritize, and then that in that small little prompt you can determine, okay, what are deconditioning things and what are conditioning things, because at that point you understand what you want from your heart center place related, and you see that, okay, I want these things but I'm doing these things, and so it's a duality, it's a contradiction, and you have to go through some shadow work to see, okay, why am I doing this? And I know that I want this. Um, and so being able to be courageous, okay, because it's about power, energy, and time. I don't have you seen what is this? One moment, let me pull it up. There's a formula, there's an energy formula, and it's called EPT, something like that.
E equals MC squared, or is that a different one?
It's a different one. Hold on. Power formula. This is scientific because you have to have the energy to create transformation. Um, yes, it's W, it's watts.
The
P
time,
power formula. P equals
energy,
I times V. Power equals work over time.
oh,
That formula, let me show you.
yeah,
This.
I remember.
So you want to use science and metaphysics to help you out as well. Okay, so when you're creating this, when you write down the list of what you want in relations to your centers and you do your conditioning part, it's like, okay, I see that I'm not doing this. Why am I not doing this? You write down your solutions. Okay, you create new habits, and now you need the power, the energy, the jewels, the charge to create these new habits, because the energy is what's going to push you forward. Okay. Okay. Newton's law of velocity, all these types of things, they all tie together. Um, and so you want to create that for yourself by becoming on a new frequency. Do high frequency things, especially when you're creating new habits for yourself and you're deconditioning. You want to eat healthier. Little habits like this will help push your energy upwards so that you have more of a faster change, and it's a more powerful change, and it's consistent. Okay. That's what's been working for me. When I raise my frequency in some type of way, I'm able to easily create change, easily able to enforce a new habit. Okay. Um, but your first things first is go to your closed centers and decide what you want, figure out why you're not getting it, and then creating the new habit for it to put into place to change what was there, the conditioning, get rid of the block basically, and then start. If you can't, even if you cannot for whatever reason start the new habit right away, you're too scared, or you scared of somebody judging you, or this may happen, that may happen, this worry comes in, just start with raising your frequency. You raise your frequency, everything else will fall into place, and you'll naturally be comfortable enough to confidently embrace that new habit. I hope that makes sense of how you can start with the deconditioning process. This is what's worked for me. I would love to hear some opinions from you
You
and
said
see.
it all with that bit. And so, you know how there's entrepreneurs who identify with the identity of struggling? For that,
Identity of, could
is
you
my
repeat?
audio, is my audio good?
Mhm.
For those who identify in the whole struggling entrepreneur and they want to change, but they feel some sort of discomfort in the changing, what would your advice be on that specifically? You feel like it'd be
You
the same
just keep
process.
going, child.
Yeah, just push
Discomfort.
through.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get muscles by just lifting up the same 5 pounds you've been doing for the last 2 years. Like, you have to keep 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds. A baby does not come out a woman so comfortably all the time. Okay. It's some pains, it's some growing pains that is natural. You just have to be able to coach yourself through the pains. And so doing it with a friend is always helpful. Having an accountability partner, having a journal for yourself to keep track, having a reflection day to go slow down and see, am I doing the work? Am I seeing the results that I would like to see? Those things can help you out in the growing pains because they are going to happen. Some things are just naturally going to be hard. That's what it's supposed to be, hard. If everyone was doing it, no one would get the same. If everyone was doing it, whatever the saying is, the saying here.
If
Um,
everyone could do it, then everyone would
yeah,
be millionaires.
right. And so would it really be worth it then if everybody else had it? So you have to have that resilience for yourself and self-love and have your strong why on why you even want the thing. Okay. It has to be not surface level. It has to be within yourself. I hope that makes sense in regards. It
Yeah.
can't just be, oh, I want to make my mama proud. Like, that's that will sway, things will change, and you might find out some stuff was like, dang, maybe my mama was already proud of me. I didn't even have to do that. Find it within yourself. Oh, I want this to increase my happiness or better my well-being. Things like that that are universal, and it's not gonna sway if anybody comes to you and try to change your mind about it.
Yeah. Like that strong stance.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like for that, tapping into your authority as well, the decision making and seeing what resonates as well would be really good. And also, I've noticed a lot that with entrepreneurship, it mirrors the personal life as well. So, for example, if you have a certain issue in your business, it could represent like a masculine wound, a feminine wound, etc.
Hmm.
How do you feel like entrepreneurs should find out the specific wound, but also use human design to decondition it to find out their authentic self?
How can entrepreneurs find out that specific wound? Mm, that is a really good question because, like in the story I told you about how once event connected to another event, but I didn't know how it's going to connect. That was for me. And now, if it was a wound that blocked me, how would I think I would have navigated that through journaling, emotional tracking. That has been my consistent go-to. Um, in conversations. Recently, I booked an appointment with a therapist so that I can talk it out. I'm hoping to discover something new about myself through the therapy session. So I would suggest emotional track and a therapy session, because just because you talk to your friends about your problems doesn't mean they got all the answers and solutions you need right there. So when you go to a professional, they're able to decipher and discern, okay, what are you looking for in this conversation, and like guide you through whatever you're not seeing. Okay, because first of all, they're trained, and then second of all, they're more likely older than you. I found that talking to people older than me has been very helpful in regards to gaining a perspective. Sometimes I'll be eye to eye with my quote unquote problem, and when I get to talk to a person who's outgrown my problem, okay, they're able to see a bird's eye view. Okay, you are just overthinking about this, okay, and you just need to let it go. Everything will play itself out. This is something that's natural. Okay. Sometimes a bird drops poop on the window. That's literally what life does. And I was like, oh, bird, I can't keep my car clean all the time. No, you can't keep your car clean. So I'm 21. I'm navigating life. I'm new to this. Okay. So having someone older around you will navigate problems or things in business that go wrong, that looks wrong, but it's quite natural. I mean, think of a forest, think of nature. Okay, it goes through seasons and cycles. And so I would say therapy, having a mentor, and then journaling can help you navigate and pinpoint what are those specific things, because sometimes you're just going to have a Hercules heel, and I know my Hercules heel is literally overthinking. So, yes.
Yeah, that definitely resonates as well.
Mhm.
How do you feel like entrepreneurs in general, especially those who feel like they don't have a support system, should navigate the whole journey of having to focus, but then also having to deal with perhaps people doubting them and things like that?
Definitely change your circle and not be scared to change your circle. Um, when I get the most life out of a conversation, is usually with people who are informative in my field, really good at their field, or they're older than me. Sometimes I can only have so much conversation with somebody who's around the same age as me, um, simply with because they live the same life I have, in a sense, like they have the same experiences. So it's no new perspective that they can really provide me that I am looking for at the time. And so if getting a new circle is what you need, then you need to go out to travel, go to your new bookshop, something. You have to, and your intuition will tell you that thing that you've been wanting to do, go do it. And one moment, let me change locations. I need to charge it. We're back. But yes, I definitely recommend mentorship, having someone in your circle that's a therapist, okay, and journaling.
Do you feel like there's anything you're called to share? Just any channeled messages, etc., to close things off?
Mm, I would definitely say a lot of human design is having faith in the journey and enjoying the journey. Um, Joy, laughter, fun are all themes of the sacral, and they are feminine energies. And so being able to embrace that feminine side is a part of the whole entire soul's purpose. The only thing you take from this earth is memories, and that's it. You can't take anything physical. And so with human design, you are learning how to be authentic and learning how to be comfortable in your authenticness and enjoying the ride. A lot of this is not trying to figure out, oh, what the future is going to hold for me, or what's the next thing, or how to do something in specific 1, 2, 3 step ways that works for everybody. This is a journey of you becoming so comfortable as a soul that you just enjoy life day by day, and you have faith. Okay, faith is a real thing you have to have. This is not, no, okay, this is guaranteed to happen. You have faith that it's going to happen, but it may not happen in the way that you expect it to. That's been a lot of my life's journey. I believe it's going to happen one way, and it happens in an even better way. And then I look back, and I'm finally at the thing that I wanted to have. And I'm just like, I was crying, upset about so and so the whole time, when I could have just been enjoying the journey. And so as I continue to mature, I am understanding that when you're just doing the right things, and we understand that 80% of the work is just showing up, everything will follow. So remember to take it easy, okay? And your life is not going to end if you don't get the extra $10 sale tomorrow or today. Just trust the process, enjoy the process, because the process is most of the work anyway. So find out how you can do that, and you're doing most of the work. All right.
Thank you.
Of course.
So much wisdom. I hope those who are watching are sitting there taking notes.
Yes, ma'am. And y'all can all contact me at BEAYONIE Washington@gmail.com if you have any immediate questions you would like for me to answer. You can also follow my Instagram at BEAYONIE on Instagram, and follow me on Universe Tarot on my YouTube. I just dropped a video about why line one should read more books. You can keep an eye out on any other human design information, mostly on my Instagram and YouTube. And so, yes,
I'll
check that
link it
out.
all below as well.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, so I'm gonna stop recording. Sure you want to stop? Yes.